There is a sentence in Hermetic philosophy that can completely change the way a person sees life, reality, and even themselves. The all is mind. The universe is mental. At first, those words may sound abstract, mysterious, even poetic. But this principle is not meant to be just admired. It is meant to be contemplated deeply, because hidden inside it is a complete reorientation of how reality is understood. Most people are raised to believe that the material world is the foundation of everything. They are taught to believe that matter is primary, that consciousness is secondary, and that mind is just a byproduct of the physical. But the first Hermetic principle turns that upside down. It says that the deepest reality is not dead matter. It is not blind accident. It is not a meaningless mechanical universe. It is mind, living mind, universal mind. Now, this does not mean that your everyday ego is the creator of all things. It does not mean your temporary personal thoughts are the source of existence. It means that behind all manifestation, behind all form, behind all appearance, there is a deeper mental reality, a living intelligence, a universal consciousness in which all things exist. This is why this principle is so powerful, because once you begin to understand it, you no longer see yourself as a random creature trapped in a cold universe. You begin to understand that you live within a greater field of consciousness, that your mind matters, that reality may be much more intimate, alive, and interconnected than you were taught. And that is why this is not just philosophy. This is a doorway. To understand this principle, we first need to understand what Hermetic teaching means by the all. The all is not presented as a limited God among other beings. It is not described as a personality in the ordinary human sense. It is pointed to as the fundamental reality behind all changing things, and as something beyond complete definition. The Kybalion says that the wise call this fundamental reality the all, that in its essence it is unknowable, and that reason leads us to regard it as infinite, eternal, and absolute. This matters because everything in the visible universe changes. Forms change, bodies change, civilizations change, emotions change, seasons change, thoughts change, worlds rise and fall. But if everything in appearance is changing, then something deeper must underlie that change. Hermetic teaching says that behind all this motion, all this becoming, there is a substantial reality, a fundamental truth, something not dependent on passing form. And that is where the all enters. The all must be infinite because nothing can exist outside it. It must be eternal because it cannot have been created by something beyond itself. It must be unchanging in essence, because if it changed into something else, that something else would also have to be part of a greater reality. So already we begin to feel something important. The all is not small. It is not local. It is not a tribal idea. It is the infinite source and ground of existence itself. And if that is true, then your life is not taking place outside ultimate reality. It is happening within it. Now we move into the heart of the principle. If the all is infinite living mind, then what is the universe? Hermetic wisdom answers clearly. The universe is a mental creation of the all. The Kybalion says that the all may be considered an universal, infinite, living mind, and that the phenomenal world is a mental creation existing in the mind of the all. This idea is subtle, and it must be handled carefully. It does not mean the world is unreal in the shallow sense. It does not mean pain is imaginary, or life is meaningless, or nothing matters. In fact, the Kybalion repeatedly treats the universe as real on the human plane, even while teaching that its deeper nature is mental. What it means is that reality is rooted in consciousness more deeply than material thinking can explain. Mind is not just something that appears late in the process. Mind is fundamental. Mind is woven into the structure of the universe itself. And this changes everything. If the universe is mental, then the inner world is not disconnected from reality. Thought is not spiritually irrelevant. consciousness is not a side effect. The mental dimension of existence becomes central. This is why Hermetic teaching places so much emphasis on mental transmutation, mental mastery, and the power of inner law. If reality is mental at root, then understanding mind becomes one of the greatest keys to understanding life. And maybe this is why so many people can feel, even before they can explain it, that reality responds differently when their inner state changes. One of the most beautiful implications of this teaching is that we are not outside reality trying to figure it out from a distance. We are inside it. More than that, we are within the mind of the All. The Kybalion says that the universe exists in the mind of the All, and that in that mind, we live and move and have our being. That is a profound statement. It means your existence is not separate from the greater reality. You are not an isolated fragment abandoned in a meaningless cosmos. You are living within an infinite mental field, within a universal presence, within a greater intelligence. Think of a wave in the ocean. The wave has form, it has individuality, it has movement, but it is never separate from the ocean itself. In the same way, individual consciousness may be real, but it exists within something much greater. This is why intuition matters. This is why synchronicities matter. This is why prayer, contemplation, inner knowing, and deep silence matter. Because if we truly live within a greater field of mind, then communication with that greater reality is not absurd. It becomes natural. This principle can make life feel less lonely, less fragmented, less accidental. You begin to see that perhaps your thoughts, your awareness, your longing for truth, your sense of inner connection, all arise because you are not cut off from the source. You are already within it. Hermetic teaching goes even deeper than saying the universe exists in the All. It also says that the All is in all. The Kybalion presents this as a great truth. While all is in the All, it is equally true that the All is in all. It describes the All as immanent in its universe and in every part, particle, unit, or combination within it. This means reality is not only held by the source is also present within the manifestation. That changes how we see human beings. It changes how we see nature. It changes how we see life itself. Every person carries something deeper than personality. Every life form exists within the greater presence of the All. This does not mean every individual ego is identical with the All. The Kybalion explicitly warns against that confusion. But it does mean that the spirit of the source is inherent within creation. So the awakened eye starts seeing more than surfaces. You begin to see the one moving through the many. You begin to feel that when you harm another, you act from blindness. When you live selfishly, you narrow your perception. But when you move with reverence, compassion, and truth, you begin aligning with something more real. This is not just mystical language. It is a shift in consciousness. Separation may still appear on the surface, but deeper than surface, there is participation, relation, shared being. That is why spiritual maturity is not only about power, it is also about humility. If the universe is mental, then your inner life matters much more than most people realize. Your thoughts are not nothing. Your habitual states are not small. Your inner atmosphere shapes the way you experience reality, respond to life, and create consequences. This does not mean every event is consciously chosen. It does mean consciousness has real significance. When the mind is chaotic, fearful, scattered, and undisciplined, life becomes distorted through that lens. When the mind becomes ordered, observant, aligned, and inwardly stronger, a different quality of life begins to emerge. Hermetic teaching is deeply empowering here. It does not ask people to become passive. It asks them to understand the laws of the mental universe and apply them intelligently. The Kybalion says the student who understands the mental nature of the universe can grasp mental laws and apply them to well-being and advancement. rather than living haphazardly. So the first mastery is inward. Before changing the world, watch the mind. Before complaining about all external conditions, examine the habitual inner state. Before calling yourself powerless, ask whether you have truly learned to direct attention, discipline thought, and stabilize feeling. This principle creates responsibility. It says, your consciousness matters. It says, what you repeatedly hold inwardly shapes your path. It says, mastery begins within. Now let us bring this into the modern world. Many of the most effective people in the world, whether they explain it spiritually or not, live closer to this principle than the average person. They understand the power of mind. They guard their attention. They protect their vision. They repeat inner assumptions until they become identity. They often act from certainty, long before outer evidence fully arrives. They focus on what they are building, rather than endlessly feeding doubt. Some of them may never use Hermetic language. Some may not say, the all is mind, but they still understand, consciously or unconsciously, that inner reality affects outer results. They know the value of mental environment. They know the cost of scattered thinking. They know the force of belief, expectation, image, and self-concept. And often, what separates them from the average person is not just money or education. It is mental direction. The Kybalion says that the masses are often moved about by outside causes like pawns, but that the masters rise above lower causation and become movers instead. That idea applies here powerfully. The average person is mentally reactive. The more powerful person becomes mentally directive. That does not automatically make them spiritually wise, but it does show that mental law is real in practical life. So the lesson is not worship of the rich or powerful. The lesson is this: those who learn to mastermind often produce very different outcomes than those who let the world think for them. So how do we actually live this principle? First, begin watching your mind, instead of automatically identifying with every thought that passes through it. Second, become more intentional with speech. Words reinforce mental structure. Speak with more awareness. Third, stop feeding your consciousness chaos all day. What enters the mind matters. What repeats in the mind matters. Fourth, hold inner images of what you truly want to embody and create. Not in a desperate fantasy sense, but in a disciplined way. Learn to become inwardly familiar with peace, strength, clarity, abundance, purpose, and alignment. Fifth, understand that repeated thought becomes a kind of inner architecture. What you dwell in mentally, you strengthen. This is where Hermetic teaching becomes deeply practical. The Kybalion presents mental transmutation as the art of changing mental states and conditions, and says that if the universe is mental, then mental transmutation becomes a way of changing conditions along the lines of mind, force, and matter. That means inner work is not decorative, it is foundational. If you want a different life, do not only ask what you must do outwardly, ask what you must become inwardly. Because the first Hermetic principle invites you to stop living like consciousness is secondary. If you want to truly study this law, you need practice, not just admiration. Start the day in stillness before touching your phone. Even 5 or 10 minutes changes the tone of consciousness. Meditate on the phrase, the all is mind, the universe is mental. Do not rush it. Sit with it. Let it work on you. Journal your recurring thoughts. What patterns dominate your inner world? What beliefs are shaping your experience? What assumptions are silently directing your life? Practice visualization with feeling, not empty fantasy, conscious, intentional, mental formation. Create moments of silence during the day. Observe rather than constantly react. Speak to the universe in sincerity, through prayer, reflection, direct inner dialogue, or sacred questioning. Ask for truth. Ask for alignment. Ask for greater understanding. Read short passages from the Kybalion and contemplate them slowly, rather than consuming too much at once. Hermetic teachings often deepen through reflection, not speed. End the day by reviewing what you mentally fed, what you mentally created, and what you need to refine tomorrow. These simple disciplines gradually make the principle real.
To talk to the universe is not to perform empty ritual. It is to enter relationship. It is to become inwardly sincere enough to speak beyond surface noise. It is to ask, not from ego demand, but from openness, to listen, not only with thought, but with presence, to bring your consciousness into dialogue with the greater field in which you already live. And perhaps this is the deepest invitation of the first Hermetic principle, not merely to think differently about reality, but to live differently within it. If the all is mind, then infinite consciousness is not somewhere far away in unreachable abstraction. The path toward it begins now, through stillness, awareness, humility, contemplation, inner purification, and sincere participation in life. You do not force the universe. You align with deeper law. You refine your own consciousness until you become capable of perceiving more, receiving more, and embodying more. This is where philosophy becomes transformation. And if you stay with this principle long enough, not casually, but deeply, it begins to change your identity, your speech, your perception, your choices, your relationship to fear, your understanding of what life is. Because sooner or later, this truth stops feeling like an idea and starts feeling like home. And if these teachings resonate with something deep inside you, we explore universal laws much more deeply in our Telegram channel and discussion group. It is a space where we can connect, reflect, and share deeper insights together on this path of understanding and awakening. If you feel called to join us, the invite link is in the description.